In the meantime, tonight we have a new message to parents, and it's coming from an Indianapolis reverend about kids found unsupervised downtown late at night.
That message: know where your kids are. All of this comes after IMPD says hundreds of kids were running around downtown Indy without supervision last weekend. Police say some of those kids had guns.
Our Chase Houle spoke to some people
who works here on Illinois between Maryland and Ohio says this strip here had hundreds of unsupervised kids on it. She says while some of them were yelling at each other, others were fighting. Downtown on Illinois Street Thursday afternoon was full of men and women running in and out of restaurants and businesses. But late Saturday night, places like Enzo's had to close up shop early because hundreds of unsupervised kids were taking over the streets.
So what we were told was that about 400 unsupervised kids were downtown. They were having problems with them again. Shots were fired. I think we were told there were robberies and attempted break-in in police cars.
Reverend Dr. Charles Harrison is the president of the Indianapolis 10-Point Coalition. Harrison says he's been walking the streets of Indianapolis to keep kids out of trouble for 25 years. But like the landscape of downtown, the challenges he faces have changed too.
And our major concern back then was getting the kids home without fights. Today is much differently because you have so many kids with guns today.
The Reverend says he, along with other ministers, try and help IMPD when it comes to unsupervised kids downtown late at night.
Our very presence downtown tends to keep the kids in line because we can say things to the kids. The kids tend to respect us when we're down there.
In a statement from IMPD sent to me on Thursday, the department says 3 juveniles were arrested for having a weapon.
Parents have to step up. If you have a 12-year-old, a 13-year-old, a 14-year-old, 15-year-old, 16-year-old, 17-year-old, you ought to know whether or not they have a weapon. And you ought to be responsible for them being downtown and making sure if they come that they act appropriately. Or what we would wish is that they would come with the parents so that it will ensure that they would behave themselves.
I did reach out to the chief for an interview following my story last night, but an IMPD spokesperson tells me that they will not be making him available. Reporting in Indianapolis, Chase Houle, 13 News.